What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today we are going to take a look at a Mad Catter game. I wanted to show that Mad Catter can be good if you get a little bit lucky. And this game is actually pretty impressive too, because it is not a ladder game. This is actually a practice lobby with some pretty high-ranked players. We are going to be playing up against Supreme Kitty in our first combat, so I'm not going to field a Kitty Cut Purse here. Interesting shop to see a triple Kitty Cut Purse. Not really what I want to see on Mad Catter. We take 3 damage rather than let their Polywoggle slay. We really only get punished if their first unit is Lonely Prince. But if their first unit is Kitty Cut Purse or Polywoggle, sure, we could have tied, but then we're giving them a slay. So don't really want to do that either. A lot going on here at the start of the game to talk about, but the one thing, I'll just say this before we get too far away from the thought, this is basically the caliber of a day 2 tournament lobby, I would say. The caliber on the hardcore tournament competitive practice realm is really strong, and it's going to be all names that you recognize if you consume other Storybook Brawl content on Twitch or YouTube or other platforms, or pay attention to tournaments, stuff like that. So going to be picking up a Mad Mim, and we'll go for a Polywoggle of our own here, and I do think that this is a pretty good setup here. The Polywoggle reasonably likely to slay, unless, of course, the Wonder Waddle is high rolling, which, of course, Wonder Waddle always can. But basically, so our shop was just Kitty Cut Purse, which means that we are pretty likely to just lose that first combat to Sadrak. The way that I guess we get punished, like I was saying, is Lonely Prince and then Minotaur or Tiny, all of which are 3 units that you don't really want to purchase on Sadrak to begin with, because they are not that explosive. We don't get our slay, but we are still going to win this fight just because of the +2/+2 on the Sherwood Short Shot. So we'll take it, I suppose. And now what options do we have here? I do think that the white could have been good, but I wanted to get the start rolling with the Mad Catter, and I do think that this Humpty is something nice and strong that we can pick up here. I don't want to pick up the Baby Dragon because that means I'm only playing effectively 3 units, because you can't really count the Mad Mim when it's not even pumping something that would be like beyond any notable breakpoint. So I'm just going to lock the Baby Dragon. I've said this before, but I do think that locking with Mad Catter is stronger than it would be sometimes on other characters, because it means like you're going to be rolling anyways, or you want to be rolling anyways with Mad Catter. So even if you have just like 1 gold left over, rolling and then potentially locking something good in the shop can be good. A lot to talk about, a lot to discuss with this one, but this combat is looking great as well. Not even really because of the egg. We don't even need the egg here. Sure Shot could have cleaned it up, but really just the Baby Dragon did some work, and my opponent didn't really have too much else going on. So I'll pick up a Baby Dragon. Fairy Tale seems fine. It's a little bit about what Mad Catter wants to do, get some bigger units, and then we'll roll and hopefully pick up something nice. And Trojan Donkey is as nice as it can get, though we could say goodbye to the Trojan Donkey and turn it into an evil unit. It's also definitely up for consideration, and also up for consideration, which I believe I should go for here, is sharding this egg that already has +2/+2 on it. But I could see really going either way. I'm going to go for the shard on the donkey, and we get a Princess White. And that is one thing that we're going to see this game, is the there is definitely something that wants us to play dwarves on this one, as we are drawn into dwarves with a lot of our random effects. And I do think that dwarves is good on this patch, and it's also good, especially in some of these more try-hardy lobbies where you can otherwise potentially have a little bit of a tough time because everybody is just doing such strong, such powerful things. Does look like we are going to hang on to our Humpty Dumpty for just a little bit longer as we deal 5 damage to Bad, and you can tell we're up at like the top of the lobby right now. Other than this APOC that has gained 1 health, we have more health than, I'd say, like, the Muerte starts with 5 health above us. So they've taken 9 damage. We've only taken 6 damage. That's basically the point that I was trying to get at. Do we want to finally get rid of this Humpty Dumpty? I think now is the time to do so. Then we could potentially consider picking up some dwarves, but I never said I wanted to play dwarves. The game was what was telling me to play dwarves, so I am just going to ignore the dwarves for now, pick up a Lonely Prince, and then I will pick up this Princess Peep. It works really well with the Mad Mim that we are already working with, and then gets to flip over our Lonely Prince. Kind of awkward in this shop, as we would have to lock on a 0.0 turn. But I don't hate the Spellweaver plus Wish Upon a Star. I think that that can be good. We're going to have 8 gold next turn, and if we play anybody towards the bottom of this lobby, we're actually really strong. Like, let's not forget about how strong we actually are right now. We're going to be playing up against Muerte. We might not do fabulous against Muerte, but we've still taken less damage than them, so it's definitely within our possibilities to win. They've got double backline range unit, but we got a bunch of sheep. Maybe those sheep will do some nice stuff for us. Yeah, they will. And we're going to be able to take them out pretty easily here, and now we're going to be picking up our second backline ranged unit, which will also be nice to pair alongside with this Chupacabra, and then we'll be casting this Wish Upon a Star, and this is pretty good for us here. The Princess Peep starts to look a little bit worse. Oh, we could do something like this. No, I like Chupacabra pumping up both of our ranged units. And then, okay, this is pretty smart. Use the Mad Mim now to support the Princess White, and then all of a sudden, we are actually getting full pronged value out of the Mad Mim again. So I do like this. I think that it's decently likely that the Princess Peep will just get attacked. Like, I could see cutting both the Peep and the Mad Mim for backline Minotaur and then space 1 Baby Dragon. I think that that could also be good. One thing that we also have to consider, though, is we are playing up against Sad Drac, so Baby Dragon does get a little bit worse against Sad Drac because it means that they'll at least get use out of their support in spot 5. So some like very technical things to think about here. This is the Supreme Kitty that the Sad Drac that we played no units against on turn 1. So going to be slightly different. Going to be attacking with a Stag as their first unit. And things still looking pretty good for them. The Peep will spawn out the full 3 sheep, which is nice because it is also just going to give our ranged units a little bit of cover from that Shadow Assassin, and we win. We win the Wish Upon a Star. So now we're tier 5, and what is absolutely wonderful about this is now we give 5/5 to anything that we roll into. First thing that we roll into is a Bossy, and at the time of recording this, no, this was after I just put out the video you guys saw probably yesterday, maybe a few days ago. Earlier this week, where we knighthood the Princess White. So that already has happened, and then we roll again, and it's right into a greedy. And this is what I was talking about, getting a little bit lucky. To roll immediately into 2 dwarves, I think is quite the power spike. Both of these units just got a free +5/+5, so that is pretty wonderful as well. And then I'm going to go for a Wormroot here to finish things off, just make us that much stronger. And I do think that we wind up being pretty strong by the end of this combat. It does certainly seem like we're in dwarves, though I am not locked in on it by any means, but you have to imagine that any dwarves that I roll into are going to seem pretty strong because they're going to be getting +1/+1 from Fairy Tale, +3/+3 from Bossy, and then, oh yeah, +1/+2 from the Princess White that we have as well, which also allows us to potentially pick up a treasure in the near future. So we just kind of fell into dwarves. That's what the game wanted us to play, and it looks pretty okay for us. Like I said, these ranged units are going to start to be able to do a decent amount of work. My opponent with 2 ranged units, though, Bossy's pretty big. +5/+5 is going to allow Bossy to survive there even and deal 1 extra damage to Sigismundo, who you might recognize from the Brave Princess League. Do have the option to cast this spell here. I think we're going to roll, see what else the Catter can come up with. Don't love Soul Tack, but maybe we can roll onto some more dwarves. Romeo plus Juliet, interesting. Not super excited about it. I think that we can roll again. We're up against an APOC that's probably on 5.0. I'm considering the Fanny here, though, and I do think that the Fanny is good. We probably want 1 more dwarf to try to pick up, but I could just see supporting the Bossy because it did get that +5/+5. So it is going to be rather large. It's either the Bossy supports the Fanny or the Fanny supports the Bossy. And yeah, like I said, this seems fine. We roll onto a Cinderella, and we could do something like pick up the Cinderella for the treasure eventually, and then go for the Queen's Grace either on the Frog or on the Sherwood Sure Shot. There's also Baba Yaga plus Riverwash here, which is cute and does allow it to do some of its own fun things. And oh, I just go for the Baba Yaga. And now I'm debating locking the Riverwash Mermaid. I do rather like the Baba Yaga when we have the Chupacabra. I am not sold onto dwarves by any means, so yeah, I'm willing to see where this goes. Now, Baba Yaga and Chupacabra both get sniped, and looks like this APOC is going to have quite a nice board. Randomly, just an APOC building up a happy little tree before they have to give it away forever. But this is a pretty fabulous pickup here, being able to pick up the Tweedledee. That is just one of the best dwarves. So do have to take that, and then I'll go for the Falling Stars because that is going to trigger on the Greedy. And then I figure I will roll for Grimsoul. I pick up a Polywoggle, potentially roll for Grimsoul. Maybe that'll push us in a direction. But who am I kidding? Look how many dwarves we already have. This is a dwarves comp. So we are going to see me then sell off that Polywoggle immediately to play this Bossy. And now we've got quite the dwarf smorgasbord here. And then, oh, I'm going for this crafty right now too. Yeah, let's just sell out of everything, go into the dwarves, pick up this crafty. Now we're only 1 dwarf away from activating Princess White, so that starts to look pretty good as well. And I think this is the optimal board configuration. Could arguably put my bigger Bossy in slot 5. That could give us slightly more power on the board, but I'm not going to wind up changing that. We're just going to play this against May. And can our Bossies survive these Lightning Dragons? They can. At least they can survive the first one. So that Bossy is going to do a decent amount of work for us again. And now this Crafty is just barely going to be short of the Wizard's Familiar. We get a few more extra gold on the Greedy, but we are going to be going down to May here. Not going down, we're going to be taking 9, going down to 10. And now we're tier 6, so now everything that we roll into is getting +6/+6. I'd love to roll into a dwarf. 1 more dwarf allows us to unlock Princess White's treasure, so I will pick up a Fanny just to get that treasure. And this isn't great, but Merlin's Hat is fine. There's some treasures that we would potentially use, and then we're just rolling. I'd really love to find a Lucky. We're still 2 XP up on the rest of the lobby, so it's definitely good. I am looking like if we could have hit a Jormungand, maybe we would have pivoted into something a little bit different here, but we wind up finding the Lordy eventually before that Jormungand cometh. So let's sell off the Spellweaver, roll a little bit more, just to find a better spell that we can cast, and we're pretty strong now. We are up against the Ghost, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to move around a few things here. But this should be great. Now we are looking to really farm this Greedy. The Greedy's going to get a whole, what is it, plus 28 from the, or plus 14 from the Lordy. That's how it works. So this Greedy should definitely be able to farm a few bucks for us, and that potentially means finding another Lordy. And from here, it's like a pretty straightforward Dwarves comp. We're basically just hoping to beat up the rest of the lobby as quickly as possible, which is generally what you're trying to do in high-level lobbies. Just play the strongest board at all points. We get another Mad Catter roll onto a Bossy, and then we're able to pick up an Ambrosia and an Echo Wood to go alongside it. I don't know if the Lordy or the Echo Wood should be Ambrosia'd. That's kind of a tough call, but we are going to pick up the For Glory regardless. And now we can sell out of this Crafty and pick up a Doubly. So all of that is pretty good too. I do think that we're going to get more stats by putting the Lordy in the Ambrosia spot, and I believe that that is eventually what I come to. Let's see. Let's jump ahead a little bit. I do think that it translates into slightly more stats, but looks like we're going to run the Echo Wood. Maybe I decided I wanted a big unit rather than a bunch of tinier units for this one. That really is the trade-off. Like, how do you want to grow wide, or do you want to grow tall with one 200 Echo Wood that is kind of tough to beat? Though, of course, that does put a little bit of your eggs in one basket if some Pumpkin Scam comes up, and my opponent only summoning 2 units off of Pumpkin, so that's not going to be something we've got to worry about as well. We are going to almost take out the Sadrak, hitting them for 13, but getting our For Glory. We get a Green Knight, not super impressive. Bossy is an upgrade over Fanny, so I could see taking that, but I could also just see picking up another Fanny, and that would also be somewhat of a reasonable upgrade too. Do think I should go for the True Love's Kiss on the Green Knight. For only 1 coin, it is not that bad, but I'm also considering that I still have enough gold to roll into knighthood this turn. So I'm going to now sell that Green Knight that I would have True Love's Kissed and go for this upgrade. The only question is what we're upgrading, because the main consideration here is whatever we upgrade is going to get taken out of the pool and going to make it more difficult for others to find, and whichever unit we don't upgrade, we're just going to throw into the Ambrosia spot. So it doesn't actually affect us in either way, which of these 2 units that we upgrade, but it does allow us to potentially cut some units from the rest of the lobby and from ourselves. And because of that, it also means, like, okay, maybe we want to keep the dwarves in there because we could potentially get a dwarven forge and then upgrade the Lordy that way. But the other thing that I am considering big time here is cutting the Echo Woods from the rest of my opponents means that they are going to be very unlikely to be able to put up a comp that can be formidable against ours. So we're going to hit Watermelon here for 18 damage. Watermelon, another really good player whose name you might recognize, and we see another Lordy. We also see another Tweedledee, and that's going to be great. Probably going to mean that we wind up throwing away the Greedy at some point, sometime pretty soon here. We roll, don't find any spell that's particularly impressive. Could go for something like Gigantify or Merlin's Test on Doubly or Tweedledee, but I'm not really here for it. We do wind up finding a Tweedledee now at this point, so I think I've had enough of Fanny. the thing I think I'm considering here, oh wow, okay, oh, I'm keeping the Fanny so that way if we find a Dwarven Forge here, this whole board is going to get combined and we're going to be playing down a few units, but it still seems like it would be really good. So we pick up the Dwarven Forge, and now we've got some choices to make because we're going to get a tier 6 treasure. Okay, the Ark is ready to go. Let's go for the Ark, toss Merlin's hat, and then we get another treasure off of Fanny, and this one's a clear skip. We do kind of want to find another unit to play so that we have another dwarf, but we're just going to be playing Princess White for this combat. It means that we're playing slightly down right here now on the board, kind of an awkward board. I also want to throw the doubly into the Ambrosia spot, so yeah, that kind of winds up looking pretty interesting too, but we just got the Ark, which is a huge bonus. That's going to make the Tripoli even bigger just right at the start of the combat too. And then, yeah, things just get a little bit nutty. So now the Tweedledee resummons. The Echo Wood is up in the 600s, and this is also where you see the early knighthood onto the Echowood, doing some additional work that you might not otherwise think about, because my opponent with both of these bear stains might have really enjoyed picking up an Echowood for themselves. So the fact that we cut the Echowoods kind of from the rest of the lobby is also going to be paying some dividends here. This looks like it will be a kill onto bad, and that probably springboards us into about the top 3. Probably going to see another elimination on the, yes, the Muerte goes down as well. So we probably only have 2 more battles left to go in this game. Dwarven Forge, pretty good. It means that we still have the chance to make some additional treasures and make some additional improvements on this board. Awkwardly, like, in order to make use of the Ambrosia, we probably have to put Fanny in, like, the last possible position, but that's totally fine. I'll go for a Dream Spell because that seems totally okay here, and Fate seems great. Give everything an additional +5/+5. I think that is one of the better things that we could have transformed into at this point in the game. I think this is a lock as well. This is going to allow us to get one more tier 5 treasure. It does give us a considerable amount of stats on the ending board here, and does make us just the tiniest bit stronger. So I do think this is good. You can see we are eschewing making use of the Ambrosia in this combat. If we were to move the Fanny over, I don't want to frontline the Bossy either. There's just not enough ways to make use of the Ambrosia. So not going to be making use of that, but we are going to be making heavy use of this Echo Wood, and I think that just this Echo Wood alone is going to be enough to win the combat. Does get some help from the Tweedledee, of course, but this should be enough to take out Onarok as APOC. Does look like that will be the case. So 17 damage to them, and now we are up in the finals against Supreme Kitty, the person that we denied on that very first turn. We'll take the Bossy, and we actually have 2 treasures that we're totally fine with getting rid of here. I'll pick up the Mimic Chest, and honestly should probably just toss the Ambrosia at this point, but I guess I'm thinking maybe if we find another Lordy or something, I don't know. This is tough. I don't think that we're really making use of the Dwarven Forge or the Ambrosia, but I think that I should toss the Ambrosia because if we find another doubly, then we could have made use of that. But no matter, we are going to just roll, and we're not going to find the doubly, so it's not a huge deal either. I'm actually just going to settle for Potion of Heroism, which does some nice work. Oh, and I do decide to make use of the Ambrosia at the last second as well. So there you go. A little bit awkward, but the one thing to note here, you'll see, and I have to break this down really like a frame at a time. Let's jump forward. I believe that Ambrosia does pump Echo Wood because so you saw it was at like 32. what's going to happen is the doubly is going to become a triply, get additional bonuses from the arc, which then play into the Echo Wood. And then you're going to see the Lordy go off, and then that pumps the Echo Wood again. But it's really, it happens so quickly. 32, you'll see that, well, these numbers just don't add up. Maybe you just have to do the math to be able to understand that. Is there a frame even where you can see it? Yes, there was. There was a frame perfect 290. Did you catch it in there? Really tough to see. There you go. So like before you can even see the combat, what happens is as your game loads in, and the Sims don't even pick this up all of the time either. What happens is just what I was saying. The Ambrosia turns the doubly into a triply, which means now it's receiving 3 times the bonus from this tripled arc. So all of a sudden turns into a 290. I don't know if that allows it to play around Shrivel, but I think this is faster than Shrivel in a crazy way. Then the Lordy goes off, and that's what catapults the Echo Wood into the almost 700s, and then the Tweedledee dies, and that's what catapults Echo Wood into the thousands. So that's just all like very technical stuff there that winds up working out very well and allows us to defeat Supreme Kitty pretty easily here. They are going to have a pumpkin, but they're going to have to pull out 3 scams with this pumpkin, which I just don't think is going to be possible. No, they're going to wind up pulling out 0 scams, and we are going to walk away victorious. And that was even with letting Supreme Kitty hit us for 3 damage on that first shop, just to kind of deny their early growth, and probably worked out very well for us. So there you go. There is a win with Mad Catter into Dwarves, putting together a nice Dwarves comp in the end. That's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.